So good evening, all the participants and all the viewers of our social media pages. My name is Ashish and I welcome you on behalf of WhiteBoard Labs and Leaders of Tomorrow. This WebJam Series 4.0 is brought to you by WhiteBoard Labs and Leaders of Tomorrow. And today we have with us our esteemed mentor, Mr. Aditya Vidyasagar. I'll just give you a small brief of Mr. Aditya Vidyasagar. Just 1 second. Like he is the chief mentor of highly accumulated is the Academy of Competency Exploration and co-founder and executive director of Worldwide Social, a global forum for landscape architecture, and a mentor Gen X for sustainable. Just hold on. 1 second. Yeah, sustainable development actions, also inclusive, engage industry academia, coordinate social sector and governance. He facilitates them by holding an event on demand in rediscovering solutions for productive growth, entitled the Avid Communication Clinic. He holds a proven track record of rendering his services professionally. Since the age of 13 and a half years. So I'll request to Mr. Aditya Vidyasagar, you just take the podium.
Thank you so much, Ashish, and welcome you all from my side to the great leaders of tomorrow. As you would know that this live session series 4 is brought to you by WhiteBoard Labs, and of course, collectively you all, that is leaders of tomorrow. That's a very happy word, very promising title. The objective of this series is to understand how Industry 4 will affect each one of us, no matter which domain we belong to. Not only data analysts or the IoT engineers or other 4.0 technology related professionals, but more importantly, how it affects non-technology folks too, like people in human resources, marketing, sales. I mean, I4 is for everybody and anybody. We have kept this an open forum discussion based webinar. You are all welcome to participate after Dr. Shipstone presents his case, and then you can during that while itself. I would love rather you all to keep disturbing your brains and come out with all possible questions, and you can ask any kind of a question which you think you need a clarity on. And after we lay the ground, the floor will be open to all of you, and of all social media pages who may want to ask a question or seek any kind of a clarification. And more importantly, that how far can you go with this kind of a series? So this is going to be open. I'll just read out how it would flow, the session. We will have, soon after this is over, I'll introduce our main speaker of today, Dr. Rohit Shipstone, and thereafter he would make his case, and then we'll be open for question answer session, and then there would be some information about the ongoing live sessions further that Ashish would help us with that. And then, of course, all the thanks would come from you together. And Mr. Ved, your head of sponsorship and hospitality, will propose that to them. So that's about it. So wish you all the best. Wish all of you are well prepared to receive it. So please take it very seriously, because it's going to be a very serious decision-making platform for you to make your career. Thank you so much. So now allow me to introduce our main speaker today, Dr. Rohit Shipstone. He's a serial entrepreneur, and which we would like you to be one on your day. And he has co-founded 3 IT setups in India and in the USA, including Collabzo Solutions Private Limited, a new age company which focuses on solutions for work 4.0. Besides the professional doctorate in management and e-business, Dr. Shipstone is a master in economics and is an active mentor and advisor for startups, especially in this social entrepreneurship space. And he will be all through with us whenever you need him. He is on the advisory board of ActionAid India and a judge on the panel of NUS DBS Foundation's Asia Challenge for Social Entrepreneurs in Asia. Dr. Sipshan is also a member of the Royal Economic Society London. He holds multiple patents and developed core solutions in using technology for critical social needs like human capital development and employability, very burning issues all the time throughout in our career. E-learning for rural areas, which is very, very important and upcoming now. Knowledge management and collaborations. He has 3 publications to his credit on human capital development and e-learning. You may find it out, Google it and get it, or else you visit the Whiteboard Lab site. There's so much more there too. He has undergone new age training programs in entrepreneurship as well as in new models of business in society, focusing on a sustainable development from Stanford University and the University of Virginia. Dr. Rohit is currently focusing on enhancing employability, our core need, among the higher education youth, like you all, to create a workforce for tomorrow. And you have titled yourself truly so well, leaders for tomorrow. We will go deep into the Industry 4 concepts with his presentation. So I would like to invite Dr. Rohit Shipstone to kindly make the case and be with us, and you be with him. That's it. Go on. Dr. Rohit Shipstone, please.
Thank you, Aditya, and welcome everyone. Welcome, leaders of tomorrow. That's a lovely name. I love that name. Leaders of tomorrow. But remember one thing: leaders are perpetual. Once a leader, always a leader. It's not that you'll be there tomorrow or not be there day after. So, one of the main key issues which you will face as leaders or may be facing right now is the question of employability. And today we will talk about uh, what will influence employability starting a couple of years back, but gaining momentum from this year onwards. And this is something called Industry 4.0. I will take you through a short presentation and then we can have an interactive session thereafter. Let me just share my screen and take you there. Just give me a second. Just a second, please. Bear with me. I Right. So our presentation today is essentially to do with explaining to you what is something called Industry 4.0 or the fourth industrial revolution. Now, this whole concept is what we'll talk about, and we'll take you through the various phases, various things that Industry 4.0 involves. I do not know how many people would or are aware of Industry 4.0, so I'll take a couple of slides there to understand, for all of us to be on the same page and understand where we are coming from and where we are actually going. So what we'll cover today will be the background. on what is Industry 4.0. We'll understand how it affects each one of us. And finally, we'll try and understand what each of us need to do to survive in this era. So with that, let us start. See, Industry 4.0 is actually short for the fourth industrial revolution. There have been four, as you may know. The first one was around the 18th, end of the 18th century, which was more to do with mechanics and mass machinery, industrialization, etc. The very start of moving away from the agrarian economy to a manufacturing economy. Then came the second industrial revolution, which was more to do with steam and electricity, etc., which enabled mass customization to happen, uh, uh, raise up bring down the price, raise up the uh, production, etc. Then we moved into the third industrial revolution, which was essentially the digital age. And our story starts there, actually speaking. Now, if you look at the second industrial revolution and note the keyword customization, and we'll just remember this word and we'll come back to this again and again as we move through this through this presentation. So during the third industrial revolution, when digitization came of age, computers came in, a footprint which you housed a building, a computer was housed in a building, moved down to a laptop. Personal computers made the footprint smaller and smaller and smaller. Semiconductors became smaller and smaller. So with the result that a lot of development happened in the digital age in terms of software and hardware. But the most important development of the digital age was the internet. And that internet is what enabled the fourth industry revolution to come in, along with other technologies. So as we moved deeper and deeper into the third industrial revolution, people evolved, technology evolved, and both started working together. And we moved into the fourth revolution, we call it Industry 4.0, where we are today. Now, what exactly is Industry 4.0 is what we will see now. So we define it in 3 or 4 ways, right? I've taken the top three here. It's the digital transformation of manufacturing or production and related industries and value creation processes. So this is the first one. Second, Industry 4.0 is used interchangeably with the fourth industrial revolution, which is what I've just told you. Essentially, it's a code word for the fourth industrial revolution. And most importantly, it is the cyber physical systems which marry each other and form the basis of Industry 4.0. So basically, it's a marriage between man and machine, between the physical and the cyber. And when they start talking to each other, which means that the machine has gone out of its boundary of electronics into a physical space. A physical space being a light bulb or a fan or an oven. You know, so that that breaking out of the boundary and marrying the marriage between the two is the essence of 4.0. And basis that, everything else falls in place, as we will see. But essentially, we must also remember that there are three main actors in this whole I 4.0, as we call it. The first is people like you and me. The second is business, which gets affected. And the third is things, physical things, right? If you stop to see how it affects all these three actors, you will start understanding the impact it's going to have. It is having on economies across the world. So first, let's see the impact on business and people. We are people, and as human beings, we are buyers and consumers. We buy to satisfy our needs, and we consume what we buy, right? And since we are buyers and consumers, it bears forth that industry, whatever that industry is, exists to serve us. So human beings essentially are the raison d'etre of industry, the reason for being of industry. We must never forget that. Industry is there to serve us, it's not vice versa. Secondly, we are workers. So when an industry is formed, it needs people to work for them, right? So we are workers also. Where we go, we have employment, we serve them, we get paid. And thirdly, as people, we constitute society. Why is that important? Because within those societal norms or practices which we have created, industry has to exist within those norms, whether they are legal or whether they are social norms. So the industry and business has to operate, have to operate within those norms. So if you look at it, we are consumers, we are employees and workers, we are also indirectly a governing body of that industry as well. And that's the relationship that we have with each other. Now, as people, as a society, today we have become a connected society. Our businesses are connected, people are connected, and things are connected. And that's what 4.0 is all about, connections. So when business connects, and this connectivity, the base of this connectivity is your internet. And that's why I made that statement that the internet was possibly the most important advancement of Industry 3.0 or the third industrial revolution. Now, a connected society is also a driver of change. See, 100 years ago, or 50 years ago, or 75 years ago, people were not in constant communication as we are today. Today, we are communicating with each other in groups or in societies or in WhatsApp or whatever, on a near constant basis, on a near real-time basis. We're constantly talking to each other. We're constantly engaging with each other, exchanging notes, exchanging ideas. And what happens there is that ideas grow, norms grow, and society itself becomes a driver of change. You know, if you give enough impetus, society will create that change. It will be the driver of change. What will be those changes? and how they come about. Number one, as a society, as a connected society, we create wisdom, connected wisdom. So if I am talking about things in a group, together in that group, some wisdom is being created or shared. Secondly, we as a connected society, again, we have now come to a point where we have created customer pools. And you can see that just Google, uh, take any phone model and say user group of that particular model, and it'll show you hundreds of groups. And they're all chatting with each other. Okay, this was wrong and that was wrong, and this is how I fixed it, etc., etc. So customer pools, customers are now organized and connected to each other of any product that you may talk about today. And the most important thing today, because of this connected society, purchase decisions of consumers has moved from personal to social decisions. Now, how does that work? Say I want to buy a mobile phone. What would I do? I'll say, look, I'll ask my friends. I'll say, look, I want to buy a Samsung, and I've heard this model is good. What do you think? So somebody in my group will probably have that and give a feedback on that. Or somebody may say, look, why don't you, just check up on the internet and see what is the feedback, see the rating, performance rating, serviceability, support, etc., etc. So now what is happening is, while 50 years ago, I would have made, or even 20 years ago, I would have made that decision on my own by going to the shop and trying to understand what is that technology and how good that support will be and how well that phone may perform. Now I have that information at my fingertips. I have opinions at my fingertips. I've got feedback at my fingertips. So now my decision is now influenced by multiple sources. So a personal decision today is influenced by society which is around me, and hence I say it changes to social decisions, joint decisions, influenced decisions. These are some very serious, major and serious changes which 4.0 has brought about. Lastly, and very importantly, peer pressure drives the need for immediate gratification. What that means is that I see Ashish has bought a tablet, latest tablet. Oh boy, I want it too. So I go looking around and I see, okay, I'm getting this tablet at a good price from so and so from Amazon. But what is the delivery time? Oh no, 2 weeks is too long. So I start looking around again. We want immediate gratification today. I've thought of it. I want it. I've decided. I need it now. This aspect is also one of the major drivers of 4.0. So, in this such a situation, how are products made? And this is where let us come back to Industry 2.0, which was the age of customization, mass production. Right? So now what happens is that products are in demand. They need to be produced en masse. However, in Industry 4.0, they also need to be customized en masse. And we'll, as we go forward, we'll understand how that happens. So if you look at this chart, what has emerged is that because of this connected relationship between businesses and people and things, there's been a horizontal and vertical integration which has happened business to business, within a business, and business to people. If you look at this diagram, you will see, let us first look at this part. Okay. Now, this is the horizontal value chain and how it networks. So you have a company. On the left side are the suppliers of the company, and on the right side are customers or consumers. This entire value chain is connected today. Today, a customer wants to buy product X, but wants a particular color. Backend, does my supplier have that color? I would know because I am now connected. I'm the company. You know, while we are talking about this in 2020, in 1990, this concept was actually already designed and used by a company called Dell. While there was no connectivity as we have it today, internet was just being on the verge of coming in. You had dial-up, all that. A very slow connectivity, first generation. But Dell had already proved the concept of this connected networking or horizontal integration. How Dell operated was that they had a barrage of a bank of telephone operators. And if I wanted a Dell, I would call up the board. I would get connected to one of the technical operators. I would say, okay, I want a PC, a computer with AMD or a Intel CPU. I wanted it at X gigahertz. I wanted N MB of RAM. I wanted 100 GB disk, etc., etc. I would spell out what I want. And the Dell person at the other end of the line would keep entering that into a computer, into their own database, right? And at the end of my wish list, they would be able to tell me, okay, sir, I will give you this PC or this computer. It will take 7 days delivery time. Now, how do they know that? Because their computer backend is connected to their suppliers and they can actually see the inventory. So when I said I want a 100 GB disk, they would see, okay, a 100 GB disk would take 3 days to deliver to the Dell factory. It was a very complicated kind of integration because it was not enabled as we are enabled today, but all the same, it worked wonders. So Dell was actually delivering custom-made machines, custom-made PCs or computers to the customer exactly as per what the customer wanted, and actually at a cheaper cost. That's a beautiful example of a horizontal networking value chain. Now, if you just superimpose Dell on the company, you can easily make out he's connected to his suppliers, he's connected to his partners, he's connected to the customers at the front end. Within Dell, you have a manufacturing, you have a purchasing first, manufacturing, all connected again. So the guy who's dealing with the customer in that 10 minutes will be able to tell him, yes, I can give you this machine. And yes, it will cost you so much. and I will deliver it to you in 7 days flat. That was the value that Dell brought simply by this process. Today, this is the same process which is used for the integration of Industry 4.0 or the smart factory as we call it. Within the company, what is happening? Within the company, every department is connected to each other. Sales, product development, planning, purchasing, manufacturing, logistics, everybody is connected to everybody else. Which means that anyone knows. So, for example, a purchasing guy would know the sales orders in real time. The product development guy would know what is the wish list of customers because he's connected. The planning guy would know, okay, this is the wish list of customers. I can bring it out. I need to bring it out in 3 months' time. What is the availability? He's also connected. Manufacturing is connected. Support, which is extremely important and will become even more important going forward. Support has a clear view. What is the product life cycle? What is the mean time to repair that is required? What is my response time? All the service level agreements or service level levels that are required is visible to the service and support department so they can plan. So when this kind of integration starts happening, there are certain implications which come about, and those implications require this kind of a framework. Robotic assisted production. If I am going to have to create a product which is semi-customized en masse, how would I do it? It's next to impossible. Unless my entire assembly or manufacturing line is assisted by robots who can change designs, who can work maybe 3 shifts in a day, who can switch over from one kind of production to the other without any major time lag. Unless this kind of a system is available, I cannot service the market. Secondly, maintenance. Gone are the days when a machine went down, a customer engineer would be called who would visit and say, okay, this part is bad. I need to go back and check. It may take 3 hours, it may take 3 days. So machine is down till that time. That's not there anymore. Today, a machine is able, because of the robotics and the artificial intelligence built into the machine, a machine is able to say and predict that, look, I'm going to have a problem tomorrow. And when a machine can say that, maintenance can be planned. And that problem can be addressed proactively rather than reactively. Manufacturing of complex parts. We're moving into an era of machines as a service, where a set of manufacturing or one machine or a set of machines could do different things. I need something made, it's allocated 5 hours to me. Ashish needs something made, allocated 10 hours to him. Mr. Vidyasagar needs something made, allocated another. So machines as a service is much like software as a service. Big data. When the kind of market demands that we are looking at, it cannot be looked at unless we have availability of data. So today, there would be data on what is the favorite color of Apple phones. Where did that data come from? From the internet. Who gleaned it? Data scientists, data analysts. They analyzed it. They said, okay, in the US market, rose gold may be a great color. In the India market, black may be a great color, or vice versa. And therefore, manufacturing would be programmed for that. Okay, I need a number of units of rose gold, and I need X number of units of black. I need N number of units with so much RAM, etc., etc. So now you see what is happening is because of all this technology assisted production, technology assisted design, technology assisted demand and data, I am actually supplying products as per customer dreams, is how I like to call it. How does a company come to know its dreams, people's dreams? Well, they have access to data on the internet. They see chats happening. People are analyzing what you and I are talking. People are analyzing what we are searching. How many people have searched rose gold color in Apple? Okay, 100,000 people. Good. So I have potentially 100,000 customers. So you see, these are the implications which come in when you start talking of the marriage between the cyber and the physical. When you start talking about big data, when you start talking about robots and how they assist or can assist, how intelligence built into machines can aid in customized mass production. So while Industry 2.0 or the second industrial revolution was about mass production, Industry 4.0 is about mass customization. Mass customization is mass production, but customized to user groups and user needs. And it's not that they will create a product for every single human being. No. What they look at is customer groups, consumer groups. And if you recall a few slides back, we had talked about that. A consumer group, a consumer will be put into a group in the from the analyst perspective. And he'll say, okay, here's a group of 100,000 people and they want this. Here's another group. This is 200,000 people and they want Y. So customer groups are set up and I start manufacturing, addressing the needs of those groups. Now, I'll give you a few examples. I know this is a little hard to understand, but look at this. This is actually already happening. Philips, their light bulbs are IoT enabled, right? So you can actually control these electrical devices, whether now it's fans also, it's air conditioners also, you can control them with your smartphone. You can light up your pool. You can open a door. You can create warning systems, all from your smartphone. Look at what Ralph Lauren did. Polo Tech. It's taking your data. It's to do with exercise and sports. So if you're running, how much distance have you covered? How many calories you burnt? What was your heart rate? Very important. And all that data goes into the user's mobile. And from where did it come? From a shirt. Take Medtronics. Today, as we all know, diabetes is a major killer, major disease in the world. Now, earlier, uh, taking your blood sugar was a pain. Today, you can constantly monitor it and therefore manage it better. All these products are examples of products from Industry 4.0 world. Now, how did 4.0? What are the building blocks? We're talking of robotics. We're talking of simulation. We're talking of IoT, cybersecurity, which is a major issue today. Because the more you get connected, the more sensitive becomes security. We're talking of augmented reality, big data. All these are the building blocks of Industry 4.0. But with all this that we just talked about, where does it land us? All these aspects of 4.0 actually impact each and every department, each and every part, each and every aspect of the value chain of business. You see things like marketing, material management, IT, of course, tools and fixtures, human resources. I mean, things which people normally do not equate with technology, do not equate with connectivity, each of these is today getting impacted. Impacted by the building blocks of Industry 4.0, the technology in Industry 4.0, and most of all, the business models which have emerged because of Industry 4.0. How business is being done with each other, how organizations are working with each other, how organizations are working with people, the customers, how are they creating value? Everything, the entire business model is getting affected. So when this entire ecosystem gets affected, anybody working in this ecosystem also gets affected. It's obvious. How does that work? Let's look at examples again. Today, there are more than 100,000 robots working in Amazon warehouses across the world. In 2016, there were just, in fact, little less than 45,000. In 2 years, in 4 years, it's gone up threefold. Siemens. Siemens is one of, in fact, I don't know how many of you know this, but Industry 4.0 actually emerged in Germany. Germany is the leader today. And Siemens is one of the major industries, companies of Germany. And they have integrated 4.0 technology so well into their products. So now, if you look at this example they've given of artificial knee and hip joints, See, it says very clearly, for years, artificial knee and hip joints were standardized products. So what that meant was that one size would have to fit all. There would be no customization. There would be no specific product or customized product. It would be a standard product. And engineers would need several days then to customize it for a particular patient who may have needed customization. But now, new software and steering solutions enable Siemens to produce an implant within 3 to 4 hours. How wonderful for a patient. That's the result of a 4.0 implementation. Trump, another famous implementation of 4.0. If you look at the description here, they have gone from having an intelligent machine to machines with intelligent components. Machines who can talk to each other. They call them social machines. Machines who can tell each other, look, I am going to do this in the next few seconds. You need to do this. How well that capacity utilization is balanced through these technologies is wonderful. And hence they are optimized. All these are examples of smart manufacturing. So, what is the impact and criticality? 4.0 impacts economies across the world. It impacts businesses across the world because today we are in a global business environment. A manufacturer in Europe may be importing components from China or India. So they are interdependent. Integration could be national, it could be global also. Societies are connected and contributing to each other in terms of business. And most of all, at the lowest level, or maybe at the highest level, if you like, individuals are connected. Individuals are getting impacted because individuals are getting impacted as as consumers, as employees, and as society, as we saw earlier. This is the kind of impact 4.0 is having on the world today. And the economy of today and the economies of tomorrow are completely different to what life and economy was 2 years back. This change has been very sudden, but very subtle. People don't notice, yet it's happening. So, why and how does it matter to us? Let me show you this again. These are the different aspects of jobs in a given organization. And each of this organization, each of the aspect of every job, whether it is asset management, whether it's ERP, whether it's material management, marketing, sales, control systems, factory infrastructure, human resources, each and every part is getting impacted with some outcome of Industry 4.0, which also means that people who are working in these organizations also get impacted. They may be engineers, or they may be MBAs, or they may be BComs, or whatever. They could be technical, non-technical, doesn't matter. Because the very business model has been impacted. And when business models get impacted, every aspect of business gets impacted as well. Now, if we look at going forward, some examples, what is the future of jobs? According to a study, your domain expertise, the weightage given to that is 28%. So let's say you're a mechanical engineer, your domain knowledge, your domain expertise, the weightage is 28%. Integrity and values with result orientation is 27%, nearly equal. Why integrity and values? Why result orientation? Because of Industry 4.0. If so much is being done by machines in terms of manufacturing, in terms of other jobs, what will humans do? The value chain of humans has gone up. Hence, you require extremely high integrity, extremely high values to be able to work in that environment, and a high exposure to result orientation. If you want to see the change, look at the next diagram. In 2000, this diagram is from the World Economic Forum. They rate some competencies in order of criticality. So if you look at it, in 2015, complex problem solving had criticality number 1. In 2020, it still does. However, at number 2 was coordinating with others as part of collaboration. But now in 2020, at number 2 is critical thinking. What a change. Number 3, creativity. Whereas number 3 in 2015 was people management. So you can actually see how the change is moving from 2015 to 20 from human dependency to machine dependency with human management. Look at it. At number 6, for example, quality control was of essence. Today, at number 6, emotional intelligence. Why? Machines don't have emotions. Somebody has to bring in that emotional aspect to a decision being made by a machine. Business is mostly about making decisions, management of business. And if those decisions are going to be emotionless, uh, this world will be a very negative world, I must tell you. So you can see the change right there. You can see the movement right there from A to B in 5 years. As a point of interest, you guys should go back and check what is the WEF prediction for 2021. And you see the change between 2020 and 2021. It'll be a very nice exercise for you to do. This is the future of jobs. But what about the past jobs? 85% of jobs in the next 3 years will be transformed. This is very, very clear. The nature of jobs will change. So if I am, let's say, a marketing manager today, in the next 3 years, I'll still be a marketing manager, but my job core content would have changed. It would totally shift. the kind of jobs that would be in-house and outhouse will outsource will shift. And if you look at this diagram, it's very clear that what will remain unchanged will be just 14%. So if you look at this, just 26% will be new roles, 33% will be retrained and upskilled, and 85% jobs will be transformed. So, why do you need new competencies in addition to your degree? As we saw earlier, the domain knowledge was just 28%. You needed certain more competencies to be able to manage in a 4.0 world. So why do you need that? Here are some points. They're pointers, right? If technology was going to take over most of the common tasks, and I just talked about it, humans will need to adapt to working with machines rather than other humans. A machine won't have a chat over a coffee break. A human will. Machines are competent to work 3 shifts in a day. Humans are not. They don't have that kind of. Machine to machine collaboration will be high. And what will humans do? They will need to manage those outcomes. Machines will talk to each other. Components will be intelligent, as we saw in one of the case studies. And humans will need to manage the outcomes of this collaboration that is happening between components, between machines, between factories, between organizations. Somebody has to manage that. Where do you think, when we say this device is a highly intelligent device, where do you think that intelligence came from? It came from humans like you and me. If you're going to program a chatbot for the banking industry, somebody from the banking industry first has to give that data and give that information and feed that into the chatbot, right? And if you do not communicate it properly, well, there will be mistakes. Output is dependent on input. Humans will use the EQ to qualify, to add to the quality of decisions by machines. So you see, the level of human interaction in business is actually going up. It's getting enriched. It's moving away from being transaction oriented to being more of management oriented. And you're not managing transactions anymore. You're managing collaborations, you're managing strategy, you're managing outcomes, which are automated. Problem solving, one of the most critical parts of the Industry 4.0. How problem solving will happen, how decisions will be done. Very, very different to how it was being done 1 year ago. Gut feel has no place in a decision-making process anymore, whereas 3 years ago, gut feel had a major share in that process. Innovation. The kind of integration that is going to happen will give birth to the potential of innovation. These are just guidelines. These are just tips on what and how humans and what their role would be in the next in this industry 4.0. There's a very interesting story actually written on a blog. I will ask Ashish to share that link as well with everyone. And that story is about a couple who move from who are born during the agrarian times. They move into they're an immortal couple, by the way. They move into the first industrial revolution, and their journey from that time till uh, till today, and how they coped with the changes in each of those revolutions, how they coped with those changes, what value they created for themselves as well as to the country, to the economy, etc. You should read it. So that's it. Last input, keep upgrading your competencies. Your competencies are extremely important for you to stay relevant. With that, I'll say thank you and I'll hand over to Aditya and Ashish.
Well, that was great indeed, and there's so much to carry by everyone, including us, and mend the future. It was so beautifully thought, and a lot more can be added by these young ones. And Soha Soyam Das out of here was very attentive, and she has come across with so many things, but we'll come to that later. Uh, First of all, uh, I'll see that a lot of scope for so many other things, a lot of your talents, a lot of your thinking, a lot of your talking between you all amongst yourselves is going to really help. Not only mending your career well, but also through your career, the global scenario would change. So that's beautiful. I think Ashish can add a little bit too, and I would like him to come for a bit. And I just wanted to thank Dr. Rohit Shipstone for presenting such a beautiful PPT. Not just that, but having done it so beautifully. I hope it has helped you a lot, or it has ignited you a lot to think better and come on and join the forces. Visit the uh, lab website. Uh, Ashish, I would like you to share the website on the chat box
Right.
and come out with some more questions. Uh, because that's going to guide us that where we need to go and mend things or fine tune things. That will help us, it will help you, it will help both of us to do that. So Ashish, I would like you to say what you wanted to share, please.
Right, sir. Thank you
Yeah,
so very much. And thank you, Dr. Rohit Shipstone, to present us such a lovely presentation.
it was beautiful.
So, yeah, and now I'll just going to interact with all the viewers over here. So, we have heard what Industry 4.0 is and how it affects each of us, no matter whether we are engineers, MBA graduates, or what work we do or want to do. Industry 4.0 will affect surely to all of us. But no worries. Whiteboard Labs and the University of West Indies, who collaborate with the State University of New York and the University of Glasgow, brings you a state of the art curriculum drawn from the Technical University of Munich for enhancing competencies for Industry 4.0. If you want to measure yourself, please undergo the employability audit test and know what you need to do. And employability audit link is on your dashboard. So please log in and take the employability audit. I'll just show you the one PPT that where is that employability audit is lying on your dashboard. So when you log in as an student on your dashboard, you can say on your right upper point, there is one employability audit button. So you just choose this, opt this. This is just a free of cost, and take this employability audit, which will really help you to find out your professional career. Thank you. Yeah, I'll hand over to Mr. Aditya Vidyasagar. Thank you.
Well, I'm just moving ahead with the agenda because we have almost surpassed the time as well, but it was worth it. And we have no issues, fellow students, because we have enough time. I like you to be here for a little more. So now we would, before we get down to your questions, which you have put up, and you have put it up on different sites, uh, we will like to, interact with you. So one who can either raise your hand or just speak up, open your mind, and let's talk. How do you feel about it? And we will definitely take your queries, which are very, very prominent, just a little later. I want all of us should talk. So who are there? Raise your hands.
So, Mr. Vidyasagar, I'll request to Soumya Das, please
Yes.
unmute yourself
Yeah.
and put your question to the expert, Dr. Rohit Shipstone. Please, Soumya, unmute yourself.
Uh,
Thank you. No,
right, sir. Thank you,
Soyam,
sir.
Soyam, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Soyam.
Sir, it's completely fine. No issue, sir.
Yeah.
So, just a second.
Yes, sir.
Your name is so beautiful, it has so much in it, like S is for sharing,
Right, sir.
sharing your talents, your time, your possessions with all of us. And then O is outlook, which is pleasing to all just by being your presence and being so vocal. Y is UP, that gives us a feeling of being very happy about it. I would like to put it as an artist because uh, an artist mind is a creative mind, who can work with what is all going on, and along with that, what you can about think also about future. So that's being really artistic because it adds beauty to the world. M, of course, is for mystery because it's so much to share with you yet, which we need to know. So let us see what is that. Yes, please come.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. As we know, sir, according to the IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, the world economy is in all-time low, right? So yeah, there are some countries we don't even know the data about, right? What the economy and where the economy lies. So how does the aforementioned cyber era help us regrow in post-COVID era, where actually people who would go and work on sites would actually matter rather than sitting at a computer and analyze data which would not even be there or which would not even exist, right?
Fine, Suham. The technical
Swayam,
side of it, Dr. Rohit will answer you just now.
Right.
But from the connectivity point of view, I would like to just add that it's all up to us. How do we look at things, Because at one time, COVID has given so much of issues, of course, to worry about and to prepare about. And that is why we are here today. And this has given us an opportunity to talk about the future, how should it be. And this has also given us a lot of learning also, that what are the things, we must not ignore. So it's all up to us how we look at it. If you look at it, the positive side of it, we'll find solutions. I would request Dr. Rohit to please elaborate on that.
thanks, Aditya. So, Soyam, you need to understand that the current state of affairs, as far as the economy of the world and different economies of different countries go, uh, the state is more or less because of the COVID problem, which the whole world has faced. Right? You agree to that?
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Okay. So let's get that one thing very clear. It has nothing. The hit on the economy has nothing to do with the cyber part. It has everything to do with the pandemic part. Okay. Now imagine a post-COVID scenario wherein people, as you rightly said, have to interact. People have to be in physical proximity of each other. has to happen. At the same time, people have to be protected. The COVID experience, while vaccines will come out and people will get protected, the COVID experience has actually opened up eyes of the whole world to how insecure and how weak we are as human beings to anything going wrong anywhere. And while we may not openly talk about it, but the fact remains that this is a major threat. It's not about COVID only, it is about a pandemic. It is about security threats. There's so many threats that we are open to today. So, how do we overcome that? How do we build up the economy in spite of all these threats, in spite of the hit given by COVID, in spite of a setback that most of the economies have had? What do we do? See, the way to do it is simple. Governments very simply say manufacturing has to go up, but the hit is a cycle. You'll manufacture for people. People have lost jobs. Affordability has gone down. So how will they buy? And if people cannot buy, then why manufacture? So that vicious circle or cycle will tend to push down the economies further and further. The way to break out will be to create affordability. How can affordability be created? Is through the use of technology, bring down costs, through the use of uh, globalization, you can actually increase your own manufacturing in a particular area in a country. So you need to bring down your costs and you need to raise your per capita income to be able to raise affordability. And that combination can today be very easily accomplished by technology working in tandem with human beings. A robot cannot think this through, but a robot can help you in the various processes, various business models that you evolve to be able to achieve these three things. These are very basic things, basic of any economy. Realistically speaking, if you ask me, is GDP, does a GDP tell me how the people in a particular country are faring? I would say no. A GDP to me does not indicate how well or how badly people are doing. Okay.
Right, sir.
What
So,
I what I look at is affordability. What I look at is per capita income, whether you're employed, what is the employment levels, whether you are part as a human, as a citizen, are you participating in the economy at all? Right, Sam? So
right, right. Uh,
I don't know if I confuse you further or you
no,
were
sir,
able
sir.
to.
I just have to follow up to this. Can I?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, right. Sir, let me take an absurd example of Apple here, right?
Hmm.
Till now, till the previous month, Apple was using Intel chips on its computers,
Right.
and I think 15 to 17 days ago, a new range of products were amplified by Apple, right? They use the M1 chips manufactured by Apple itself, right? So, so you mentioned reducing the subsidies which are used in the final product so that it can, it would be more affordable for the common people, right?
Mhm.
So, partnering with Intel, which is another brand other than Apple, cost a MacBook Air 95K in Indian currency, and Apple making their own chips, which is more economical than partnering up with Intel. So why is the why? How can we explain the growing cost of the laptop, which would go up to, I guess, 98K, which is 3K more than the previous, uh, l- uh, previous device, which was more difficult to make an handle of.
So see, especially in technology, what happens is that uh, anything new that you bring out, you tend to milk it for profits. Okay. Now, Apple is a very niche kind of a product. Right? It's not a generic product. Okay? Uh, Apple needs to make its own profits stronger, its bottom lines, because Apple will be hit also by various manufacturing issues which are happening across the world, especially in China. Now, if it's going to be hit like that, then it needs to have self dependence, even if that's a because when a product is first researched and when it comes out, the cost is always higher. See, the volumes are not the Intel has been in the industry since a number of years,
Right, sir.
maybe 30, 40 years. So
Right, sir.
their cost of operation is lower. Their cost per product is lower. But if when I come out with a new product for something that I've never done, my cost will be higher. But
Right,
in the long run, it probably will be a better strategy.
right, sir. Got it, sir. So another thing, so as you mentioned, the economic recession has nothing to do with the cyber era, right?
Hmm.
So I this is a personal example, right? So I have
Yeah.
my sister who works at an MNC called BlueStacks. It's a
Hmm.
private company nonetheless, obviously.
Yeah.
But as per she says, and her company leads are saying that this initiative called work from home, right? So
Hmm.
this is enabling them to getting more work done, right?
Right.
So why can't we actually see a rise, and why can't we actually see a rise in the economic forums, and where actually is the money going, right?
Very good question, sir. Excellent question. Um, so see, it's like this. Uh, if you look at the entire economic scenario across the world, not any particular country, some products or some industries are doing extremely well, and some are really down in the dumps. This is very visible. You look at the tourism industry; it's down in the
Right, sir.
dumps. You look at an Amazon; it's doing extremely well, right?
Right, sir.
You look at the online learning industry; uh, I think it's doing well too.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it would be different industry to industry. Uh, that everyone more or less is working from home is an equalizer. It is not an enhancer. If an industry, let's say the tourism industry is going downhill, right? While people who have survived that industry and are working still there, may be working from home, okay? But their work will not be able to overcome the industry downtrend.
Right, sir.
Okay? So there will be job losses, or at best, there will be pay cuts.
Right, sir.
All in all, the affordability level, what people call technically as disposable income, will keep going down. And that is what is happening today. Look at the lines in the US. for food. Closer home in our own country, during that lockdown time, how many people suffered? How many people lost their jobs? How many companies closed down? People don't want to talk about it. They don't like to talk about it. They run from the truth, but that's the truth. You can't escape it. So yeah, coming to your point, work from home is a great um, strategy. It helps the company to save money in terms of real estate, but on the other hand, it will hit the real estate market.
Right, sir.
It will help the company to have more productive employees. But believe me, the burnout will be 5 times as faster. I'm
Right,
sitting
sir. Right.
within the four walls of my room, working from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I'm not going out anywhere for fear of COVID, right? So I'm spending my time doing my work. But end of the day, uh, there's a limit to what I can do, and there's a limit. More than that, there's a limit to what and who all and how many people the company can actually uh, reward. So there are 100 employees. Those 100 are working 12 hours a day. All those 100 are expecting something extra, but only 10 will get it.
Right, sir.
Yeah. So once again, see that the so-called problem that you're putting up is nothing to do with 4.0, right?
Right,
I
sir.
think your main issues are with COVID.
Right, sir.
However, just think about this. I'll give you a live example. Um, China has a new target for itself. They're targeting to build 550,000, 550,000 towers only for level 5,
Yes, sir.
right? Why are they doing that? The reason is that 4.0 smart manufacturing requires connectivity because machine to machine, factory to factory, business to business, business to consumer, these all need to be constantly talking to each other. Okay.
Right, sir.
Now, and that communication is totally dependent on 5G. You cannot do it on 4G. What China is trying to gear up as a strategy is, and this ties in with your problem of Apple moving away from Intel
Yes,
to
sir.
their own. Okay, China is moving away from end products to components.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
and that component level, because they don't want the dependence of the world to go away from them, right? So
Yes, sir.
to make those to cater to the volumes that components would be required, you need to have smart manufacturing. You need to work, for example, a very small example, you need to be working your factory all 3 shifts. But can the factory manager work all 3 shifts? He cannot. He has to go home. So why not enable him to get his reports at home over his phone or over his laptop? But that can only happen if those machines are connected over 5G to his software,
Right, sir.
right?
Yes,
So
sir.
that network is being grown for that reason.
Yes, sir.
Great. I hope not only you, but others too who have similar doubts that they are made clear by Dr. Shipstone. And I would like you to please come out more with any kind of queries, whatever you have, any one of you for that matter. And you have invested so much of time. That's a very, very good sign. And till the time you make up your mind to ask a few things, let me repeat a few things which are very, very basics. Because sometime during my school days also, when the class used to about to get over, I used to go back to the basics and raise them again to understand, make the clarity better. I would like Dr. Shipstone to please tell us once again that you said that aspect of business and hence employees will be impacted. Every aspect of business and employees would be impacted because of the problem here, even if they are non-technical. Can you
Yeah.
explain? Can you explain how? Because
So
when we
see,
talk about industry, yeah, please.
yeah. So the thing is that while most people, I would say 95% of people uh, think that 4.0 is only to do with technology, but that's
Yeah,
not a fact.
yeah,
Okay. 4.0 has a lot to do with business models because the very nature of demand is changing. 4.0 did not, okay, let me put it this way. Under 4.0, demand did not come from machines. Machines came from the demand.
yeah,
And let me explain that. When in a group on WhatsApp or on some social media, on Facebook, I'm chatting with my friends that I dream of having such and such product. Yeah. That dream can never be fulfilled because 10 people will have 10 different things. But you cannot ignore dreams as a marketer. So back end, what does one do? One looks for solutions which can help me to address those dreams, to create products. And those solutions lie in the technology which emerged as photo. See, robots would have come anyway. They were coming. Robots were working, been designed for years. It's nothing new. But robots being harnessed for manufacturing, that is new.
yeah.
And why manufacturing? To satisfy demands of people like you and me and demands of the business model. Now, when a business model gets impacted, then the entire organization gets impacted. So let's look at it this way. Earlier, a product manager would design a product, right? Would would design a product based on what he thought the market would need. Then he would do a market test, a pilot or whatever. If that was successful, he would take it to the management, create the budgets, do the designs, get the manufacturing, set up for that, etc., etc.
Great. So I hope.
But today, no, wait, I'm not finished.
Okay.
Today, that is not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Today, the product manager is not deciding or thinking or trying to decide what the market will need. It is the market which is telling the product manager, this is what I need. In fact, there are a couple of companies that I know of who have done away with the product management department. They now depend on the data team
Yeah.
to glean the data from the networks, right? Of course, under the bylaws which exist, security cyber laws, and then do the analysis and tell them what should they be, what product they should be manufacturing in 3 months, in 6 months, at 8 months.
Great. I mean, it is so much to do. It even do kind of a forecasting as well. The
Yes,
entire,
absolutely.
yeah, that's great. We have Mr. Joseph here. He raised a hand. Joseph, would you like to?
Good evening. Good evening. First of all,
Good evening, Joseph.
I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to talk to all of us. And I'd like to just point out at first, you mentioned that Industrial 4.0 is going to be affecting us all. And it's basically serving all of our whims. Like you mentioned, if I want a smartphone, I get it how I want it, when I want it, and where I want it. And the internet ensures that everyone is always connected. But studies show that the world happiness index is falling down. And not only people are feeling more disconnected to society than ever before. And again, as you further mentioned, uh, in the industrial revolution that is coming, machine to machine collaboration will be important. Human to machine collaboration will be just as important. But just for a second, to take away from the financial aspect of it, what about human to human collaboration? Will that be just as important? And if it is, how do we integrate a social and a mental health development into the fourth industrial revolution?
Excellent question. So, firstly, to answer your, to clarify one thing, maybe it didn't come out in the presentation. I'll make a note of that. Human to human collaboration is extremely important as well. Okay. But having said that, I would put a caveat on that. Human to human collaboration now will be extremely dependent on accurate communication. And when I say collaboration, I'm talking about business collaboration. Okay. So communication, accurate communication, collaboration techniques, collaboration methodology, all these things will play a very important role between human to human interactions and collaborations. So yes, to answer your question, it is extremely critical and important under Industry 4.0 as well. Okay. The other part of your question, you talked of the happiness index. Okay. If you recall, I talked about while the world looks at GDP as a thumb rule for growth, to measure growth, I don't believe in that. Simply because uh, GDPs do not reflect uh, affordability, do not reflect disposable incomes of people, and above all, do not reflect the happiness index, GHI, sorry. Look at Bhutan. Bhutan doesn't talk of GDP. It only talks of the happiness index. But look at Bhutan's per capita income. I mean, in recent months, a country like Bangladesh has overtaken India in terms of per capita income. How and why did that happen? It's worth looking into. It's actually a case study in itself.
Very rightly said.
Yeah, Joseph. So yes, I agree with you. The the gross happiness index part of it, right, is dependent on multiple factors. It's not only communication, etc. And yes, mental health, physical health, all this form part of it, and all this do form part of 4.0 as well. If you look at the industry, the mental health industry across the world, it has suddenly shown growth, intensive growth. Psychology is now being treated as a skill in demand. And it's not only because of the COVID, believe me. It's because of burnouts at work. It's because of people losing jobs. The main problem, Joseph, in my opinion, I could be wrong, and you're most free to contradict me on this. I think we humans have a lot of frustration, professional frustration, because we do not change, we do not retrain, we do not reskill, we do not look at what is coming. We like to live in that little world of our own and think we are great. Whereas the world outside has changed. I showed you the priority of skills between 2015 and 2020, right? Remember that?
Yes, sir.
And how that was moving up and down. Now, if I'm static as a worker or as a human being, I'm static. Look, I don't want to change. I don't want to retrain. What is going to happen is that I'm going to be a very frustrated man because the world will change. And if I have not changed with the world and kept in pace, at pace with those changes, I'll be a very frustrated person and my mental health will get affected. If you if you've been reading, I don't know how aware you'd be. In the last 3 years, there have been two deaths that I know of managing directors of companies in India, healthy, fit, died while exercising. Now, why do you think that happened? Think about this, go research it, and then go research the Polo Smart shirt and what it does.
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part you mentioned. Polo Smart.
I showed you one case study,
Oh,
example, not case study, of polo shirts, right? How
yes.
they are wired to your mobile phone. They keep telling you your heart rate, your heartbeat, etc., 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 right? Now, the thing is, while I'm exercising, let's say I'm doing the treadmill, let's say I'm 45 years of age, right? And I'm going, but my mind is not on what I'm doing. My mind is on a problem in the office where my boss has been screwing me for something. I will not notice that my pulse is going out of control. I will not notice that my heartbeat has actually gone up tremendously. I will not notice that I'm mentally under pressure and I should not be doing those exercises. In 3 years, two MDs died in the gym. So, yes, mental health is extremely important, but more importantly, we human beings have to be open to change.
Okay. So basically, educating people to open up to change, we can both improve employability and increase mental health. Basically.
Oh,
Uh,
most definitely. Most
oh.
definitely.
So, sir, I lack technical knowledge in the matter, but how do you actually calculate the affordability to live in a country or an area?
See, okay, let's put it this way. What toothpaste do you use?
Colgate,
Okay, Colgate what? Total what?
the red one and the blue one. I'm afraid I don't know the
Okay.
exact
Uh, let's
product
say
name.
Colgate X. Okay.
So,
How much does it cost you?
I believe that the tube is 125 for either 2 or 1. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
fair enough. So let's say 150 maximum, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, while you're buying that Colgate at 150 in another country, somebody is paying $5, somebody else is paying $8, same product. Somebody else is paying $2. That is happening because of the difference in affordability. Now, how is affordability calculated? It is essentially a factor of the exchange rate of whatever currency you have. It also takes into account uh, the average earning per person, yeah, and it takes into account the expenses in a particular country. I'm not using technical terms essentially to make you understand. So there's inflation rates, the expense levels, indices, uh, every country, every region has that. And when you take all that into account, you come up with an affordability figure. So if you look at it, a laptop in India would probably be cheaper at list price. It would probably be cheaper than the same laptop in the US. If you look at a car, that car would probably be cheaper in India than in Australia. A Schaefer's pen, simple thing. Average price is 2.5 to 3,000 rupees. That translates to about $50. Try buying it in the international market, it's nothing less than $75 to $80. Yeah. So every company does that. This is nothing, it's nothing wrong that they're doing. They're making some more money somewhere, some little less money elsewhere. In India, it's volumes which matter. So prices can come down. In another country, like Australia has a population of 27 million, which is equal to the population of Delhi. So obviously prices will be higher here, right? So that's how you calculate. You calculate affordability based on all these things: the volume, the manufacturing expense, the indices, the per capita income. All that put together will create a affordability factor, which most marketing people take into account when they're doing the pricing.
Thank you.
Great. I believe I just noticed Aditya Singh wanted to talk or something because you opened up your mic for a while.
Mr. Vidyasagar, I'll take jump in like students have certain
I know,
extra
yeah.
classes and
So
they have
keeping that,
scheduled
keeping that in
accordingly.
mind, yeah, of course.
So
I appreciate that. Keeping that in mind, I would like all of you who are still there to look at whiteboardlabs.in. That's a website for further queries and things. And the session doesn't end here. Actually, it will be off and you are free to contact us through the website, through other social media things, whenever, whatever bothers you or you would like to know, we will be there. You can also go to the Whiteboard Lab Knowledge Works blog that is given on the site. And you can ask Ashish or you can raise questions to Ashish too. So that is one. There were a few things which are going to relate with what we have done today. And it's a great feat. And thank you all so much for, although the formal word of thanks, I would like to Ved come to us, between us and express it. But I personally, and on behalf of Ashish and Dr. Rohit Shipstone, thank you indeed very well from the heart for giving us so much of time. Now we have to work together to go on further and build it up further. That's definitely going to make all of us go better. And as was discussed, as Joseph also paid and Dr. Shipson rightly said, that's how probably we have a proxy called health is wealth. And that wealth, nothing could be better than happiness. So I normally greet my people, good health and loads of happiness. So keep doing that and be loaded with happiness and we keep meeting and we'll be in touch. So I would like Ved to please come and propose a word of thanks for all their time and promise to be together for a long time. Ved, please. Yes.
Good evening, sir, and all the honorable members of WhiteBoard Labs. On behalf of Leaders of Tomorrow, I'd like to congratulate both WhiteBoard Labs and all the participants for a successful and exemplary web jam. I extend my thanks to Dr. Shipstone to take out time to host this web jam. time from his busy schedule and inspire and encourage us with his work. Extremely informative and helpful. And I also like to take this opportunity to thank my entire hospitality and sponsorship team from Leaders of Tomorrow, in particular Pratik Das and Kshitij Narasimhan, for making this event a spectacular success. And actually, I'll also like to congratulate all the participants for their active participation. An extraordinary success, and have a good day.
Thank you so much. So we take leave now, and we would love to talk to your core team whenever you feel like or whenever you can. We cannot get your voice. Wait, your audio is off. I can see your
Hospitality and sponsorship team from
your audio is disturbing. Can you listen?
success. And actually, I'll also like to congratulate all the participants for their active participation. And once again, thank you, everyone. Hello.
Yeah, your voice is disturbing.
Sir, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. In between, we lost your voice.
Okay.
Even now, the voice is not around. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Please continue, sir.
I can see you talking.
So thank you, everyone. I think that I'd love to hear back from you all. In case there are any doubts, anything to be discussed further, we're all here, we're all open, and we'd happy to engage whenever you want. So thank you. I will take your leave, and good night.
Good night, all
Thank
of
you.
you. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you too.
You too.
Bye.
All of you. Thank you.